All right, I'm gonna record this little session I'm doing here. I wonder, hopefully it will record my screen over to my right. Okay, I'm using two screens. I just want to make sure it'll record the right one. Well, hopefully this will work. Hopefully this will work. All right, so then now this video I'm recording will then go here in this video section here. So credit cards and consumer credit. So credit is the promise to pay in the future for goods and services that you purchase today. So when you think of consumer credit, you probably think of loans and credit cards. And people use credit for all sorts of things. When a credit card is an extension of credit. Getting a loan for a car, getting a mortgage for a house, all these things are credit, and they're used frequently. But credit has advantages and disadvantages, right? Credit allows you to enjoy purchases right now, right? It allows you to get something right now, and the downside is that you have to pay a little bit back more than the value is over time. And if you use credit irresponsibly, you might find yourself into kind of saddled with like too much debt that you can't afford to pay, right? If you keep trying to pulling out too much credit, you can overburden yourself with credit so that you can't afford to make the payments that you need to make to pay back everyone off in time, right? And that gets you into a sticky situation you probably don't want to be in. So being in debt itself is not necessarily a problem as long as you can make those payments on time, as long as you can be comfortable with that, right? So debt itself is not the problem. Too much debt or too little income is more the problem. Okay, it's that income to debt ratio we need to really think about. But life without credit, what would life be like without credit, right? It would mean that everyone would have to save up the entire purchase price of everything before they purchase, right? No one could own a home until they had like $100,000 saved up in the bank, right? This is probably, most people would never be able to own a home if that was the requirement, if that was needed without credit, right? Most people, again, probably need some credit to buy a car. Most people aren't going to have that kind of money just laying around in an account. So yeah, so credit is necessary. It is not bad, but it has advantages and disadvantages. So, credit can provide you with a way to increase your standard of living now, but you have to kind of carefully financially plan, for the future. Okay, so with that said, I would like you to put in right here, what are the advantages and disadvantages of credit? How about this? Unless someone asks for help on this one, I'm just going to give you some time to do this on your own. I won't write anything in there. I would like you to put this in your own words. All right, so hopefully you put something in here. All right. You don't have to. I don't necessarily want you to copy what I'm saying, but for those who might be watching the video, whatever, I'll give you an idea of what an example might be. Right? I might say the advantage of credit is that you can enjoy something today that you don't have the money for. The disadvantage of credit is that, you ultimately pay more for the purchases you make, right? In the long run, you will pay more for a house when you get it on credit. Like, for instance, most people on a mortgage for $100,000 house, over the 20 years or 30 years of that mortgage, they will pay nearly double the amount for that house. A house for $100,000, with it, even with a good interest rate and everything, you can easily over 20 years end up paying the bank $200,000 worth of payments over that many years, even at like a 3 or 4 or 5% interest rate. So ultimately you pay more when you buy on credit. If you buy a car on credit, you will pay more. It won't be quite double because a car loan is like 5 years on a long end, right? 3 years on a shorter end. But you ultimately pay more for that car. A $30,000 car, even with a 3-year loan, you could probably expect to pay an extra $6,000 for that car for that kind of credit. Okay, so we have credit scores. Okay, so let's just this a little infographic here. The average Vantage score for this credit reporting agency is 688. That's about average credit score, right? If you got a credit score about 700, that's usually considered pretty good. On average, households have 3 credit cards, right? And most households there are 3 credit cards, and on average, Americans have about $5,897 that they owe on their credit cards. So 2.4 of those apparently are retail cards with an average balance about 2,000. The average mortgage debt in the United States right now is $215,000. So the average person who has a mortgage owes about $215,000 on that mortgage. That's really because in Rochester, we're kind of one of the advantages of living in this area in the city is that housing is relatively inexpensive, or at least it was before the whole the COVID thing. In out west in like Utah and Texas and Montana, man, houses that would sell here for 100,000 sell there for 200,000 or 300,000. Like housing can be 2 or 3 times more expensive in other places in the United States. That's one advantage we have living here is that our housing costs are much less. Average non-mortgage debt. Average non-mortgage debt is 25,000. So this is car loans, personal loans, everything that's not owing money on your house. And this is the average past due rate. Okay, yeah. So that's just to give you this gives you an idea of where things are. Oh goodness. There is a lot here. So I'll just have to summarize what we got going on here for this thing. What do you need to know before using credit? Okay, well, goods and services can be purchased in 2 ways. The first way is you can buy now and pay now, right? And the second way is to buy now, pay later. That's credit. If you purchase something you do not pay for immediately, you're using credit. And people who use credit are called debtors, right? Every time you use electricity, you're using a credit card because you use the electricity. Actually, not using.
Mister,
Yes.
I have to leave class right now because I'm going to a doctor's appointment to see if to get tested.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, good luck. Thanks for coming to class. You're marked present, and just try to finish up day 1. All right. And this video will be online. Okay.
All right, can you tell the other classes that I won't be attending either because I'm going to be there for a little bit?
Okay. I will, Mr. I'll try to work something out about that. We'll see. I was gonna say, Mr. K can look at your schedule and maybe email a teacher or 2 for the next 2. Okay. Or if you think you have time to do that, maybe you could email your teachers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
I just don't know. I can't do it right this second while I'm teaching everybody. And yeah, Cayman. Yes, Mr. K. I think Mr. K can handle you. All right. All right. Very good. All right. Yeah. So people who use credit are called debtors. And every time we use electricity, of course, we're kind of like using credit because if we use electricity first and we pay for it later, right? So we don't pay for the electricity until the monthly bill arrives. So in a way, we're using credit even when we use electricity. People who use credit cards or take out loans are using credit. Organizations or people that extend credit to consumers are called creditors. Okay, so the person giving out money, letting people borrow their money is the creditor. The people borrowing the money are the debtors. And there are advantages to using credit. Like one thing is it's sometimes maybe we don't want to carry $5,000 in our pocket, right? Or more, a couple $100. Maybe that's a little bit too much money to be having in our wallet all at once. Another advantage is you don't have to wait till you can pay in full for something. Credit allows you to get the use out of something while you're still paying for it. So the disadvantage, creditors charge interest, right? Everything costs a little bit more. And some people will spend more money when it's a credit card versus cash, right? If you go to the shopping at the mall with a credit card, you might spend a lot more money than if you actually had to take those dollar bills out. There's a psychological component to credit, is what I'm saying. That credit feels like you're getting something for free, when in fact it's a little more expensive. So any type of credit is based on honesty, right? The idea is that creditor is giving you this money on the basis that you're an honest person who's going to pay it back. So it's based on some trust here. And the less trust there is, then the riskier the loan becomes. The worse the terms are. So assets are anything you own, right? Assets are your home, your car, your bank accounts, and personal possessions. Earning power is your ability to earn money now and in the future. So creditors want to make sure that you can earn enough income to repay the debt. That's why on any credit application they'll ask you, hey, where do you work? How much money do you make? Right? This is some information they need. And your credit rating is kind of like your report card. Credit rating is kind of like your report card for credit, right? Every time you use credit to meet, and it gets recorded by various reporting agencies, and it can range from very, very bad to like 300, or a score of like 850, which is excellent, with 700 being about the average there. Let's see. I think that's good. I'm going to skip the rest of that. I don't want to take too much time on that little piece. We don't have much time left. So this is going to be installment plans. All right, installment plans. We have example 1 here. Calculating the time necessary to save for a purchase. So Heather would really like to purchase an electric guitar. The price of the guitar with tax is $2,240. If Heather can save $90 per month, how long will it take for her to save up for the guitar? All right, here's how we'd solve this. Well, if Heather saves for the guitar, she's not even using credit, right? If she's saving to purchase now, she's not using credit. So she will, but the downside is she won't have use of the guitar while she's saving up for it. So we're going to take that $2,240 and divide by 90, because she can pay $90, she can save $90 per month, which this gives us 24.9. What's that tell us? It tells us that it'll take 24.9 months, right, for her to save up the $2,240 for this electric guitar. We might want to round that up to say just 25 months, right? It'll take Heather 25 months to save for the guitar. So that's how you would solve a problem like that. Give this one here a shot. Desmond would like to save to purchase a used car. The price of the car is $4,500. If Desmond can save $250 per month, how long will it take Desmond to save up for the car in months? Oh, Desmond's already got a response. Let me see. I would agree, Desmond. Absolutely. So Desmond in the chat, he said, well, it's about, he said 18 months, right? Yeah, 18 months. And how did he figure that out? Well, I suspect that Desmond broke out a calculator and just took that 4,500 and divided it by 250. He got a result of 18. Therefore, it's 18 months, right? So the next question is, well, how long will it take Desmond to save up in years? How do we convert that? We don't know how to convert to years. Okay, well, we have to think to ourselves, well, how many months are there in a year? How many months are there in a year? All right, 12. Okay, all right, so 12. So let me just show this calculation, 4,500, right? 4,500, I'm dividing it by 250. This will tell me if he can save 250 a month. This is going to be months, 18 months. All right, there's my 18 months. I'm now going to divide by 12 to find out how many years, right? If there's 12 months in a year, 1.5. 1.5. I divided it by 12 to find that it's going to be 1.5 years, right? All right, give me a thumbs up if this is easy, if this is pretty easy, or a thumbs down for I need you to slow down, Mr. Solt.
I thought they were looking for like a whole number.
Oh, you were looking for a whole number. Well,
Yeah.
you could do, I mean, if you really wanted a whole number, if the question required that, then you could say 2, right? You'd round that up to 2. You wouldn't say it takes 1, because at 1.5, you don't have quite what it takes at 1 year so you couldn't round this, down. Even if it was 1.2, if I really needed a whole number, I would need to round it up to 2, because 1 isn't quite enough. Yeah. We got 5 minutes. Thank you, Yomari, for being the timekeeper, keeping track of things for us. All right. Well, I have 1 thumbs up from Yomari. I think Desmond's good on this. Javier, Catriana, we good on this? These two? We good on these? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
All right. Okay. So here's example 2. 5 minutes left to go. 4 minutes left to go. Heather from example 1. In this case, she'd like to speak to a salesperson at the music store. And the salesperson says, hey, maybe you should buy this guitar on an installment plan. The installment plan requires a 15% down payment. Remember that term? The remainder plus an additional finance charge is paid back on a monthly basis for the next 2 years. All right, so the salesman says the monthly payment was going to be $88.75 paid over the next 2 years. What is the finance charge? So here's how we would break this problem apart. And notice how it's got some stuff to it, right? First, we're going to calculate the down payment, right? To find what 15% of 2,240 is, we're going to multiply that 2,240 by 0.15, right? That's 15 divided by 100. That's what that number there is. So we can use this to multiply, right? We multiply these things together. We find out that $336 is 15% of 2,240, which means $336 is the down payment. It's that 15% down payment. Okay, now we have to kind of like in our minds when we know we'll have to subtract this. This has been paid for. All right. We're now going to calculate what's all her monthly payments going to be together, right? So she now makes 2 years. In 2 years, there's 12 months in a year. Times 2 is 24 months. She's going to make these 24 monthly payments of $88.75. So we're going to take 24, multiply it by $88.75. We find that she's going to pay $2,130 total in monthly payments. All right. So the sum of her monthly payments is going to be $2,130. We're going to take that down payment. We're going to add it to her monthly payment. So now we get an idea of how much she pays total, right? $2,466 is how much she pays total. And remember that guitar, what was that guitar worth? I forget. 2,240, right? So 2,240 was how much the guitar is actually being sold for. She's paying 2,466. She's paying more than the guitar actually sells for. Then what's the finance charge? The finance charge is the difference between those two numbers. 2,466 minus 2,240 is $226. Heather has paid a finance charge of $226. That's the fee that she pays in order for not having to wait 2 years to the start of this guitar. Woo! All right. Okay. So we're going to try this with Yomari here. Yomari would like to buy a new computer. It's $1,600. Yomari speaks to the salesperson in Best Buy who suggests she do an installment plan. It requires a 25% down payment, okay, plus an additional finance charge. Her monthly payment's going to be $122. What is the finance charge? So first, I find the down payment. All right. How do I do that? I got to take this 25% and I got to convert it to a decimal. I'm going to divide it by 100 to convert it to a decimal. I got 0.25, right? I'm going to multiply that 0.25 and multiply it by 1,600. That'll give me 25% of the price of the computer. That's $400. All right. So Yomari pays $400 down. Now I got to figure out what these monthly payments are total. So it's for the next year. So he says for the next year, which means that's 12 months in a year. So I'm going to take 12 months multiplied by 122. So 12 times 122. Yomari paid $1,464.
We're talking about our wedding.
What's that?
And I said, I need you, right?
You talking to me?
No, mister, I'm on the phone. My bad.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, all right. So Yomari paid $1,464. We're going to add these two things together. 1,464 plus, I know we're at time. That's 1,864. That's how much she paid total. I'm going to subtract the price of the computer, and I find out the finance charge is $264. Okay, $264. Whew, that's how it's done. We're almost. You finish this challenge question on your own. Answer the question, what is credit? And you're just going to click submit down here, right? You go. Yes, I would like to submit and save my responses, right? You answer those two questions that are left over. Say, I'd like to submit and save my responses now. Click next. And it should take you to a submit button. You press that submit button and your answers are saved. All right. Whew, thank you so much for joining us today at Advanced Algebra with Financial Applications. Hope you're having a great 2021 and we'll see you tomorrow. All right. Now, how do I got to stop my share. If you got any questions, I can take questions. Stop this recording.